I'm going to show you how to mark out your sides now, ready to join together. There's a couple of things we need to do. At the moment, the sides are longer than what they are supposed to be. We did that just in case we didn't get them set perfectly inside the bending jig. So if I rest this side on top of this template here, I just need to bring it close to the outside. I'll flip it over and show you what I'm looking at. So if I make the shoulder level with the outside there, and I make the hip just level with the outside of the jig there, that's where it needs to sit. Okay, it doesn't matter if it doesn't line up perfectly on the rest of it, just make it flush, sit it on the top, bring it out to the edge of there, and then we should be right. You may have to spring it in, so it may be a two-person job to get this done right, but I don't mind, seem to have bent quite nicely. So I'm going to sit this on this way so I can see what's going on, which is there and there. It's just spot on. Now in the top and the bottom of this jig, or this template, there's a little V that's been cut. So all I'm going to do with my pencil is put a little mark on here, right where that V is, and on this one, which is right there. You see the bottom of the V there, that's a little mark just there. Can you shut those doors, please? They're way too excited. Okay, so I'm come around this side. I'll cut this stuff out, that's all. So now, you can see on here, I've got one mark there, and I've got one mark on here. We now, because these were both bent at the same time, both bent at the same time, they should be exactly the same. If they're sprung back a bit more, they both should be sprung back, and it should be the same. So what we're going to do now is line them up, get them, the curves following each other, and then where this first one, that mark that I just put on the first one, I'm just going to transfer that across onto the second one. So you can see that there, I've just got those little marks transferred across. I'm going to do the same down this end. Like so. And you take your set square and very carefully, making sure it's lined up, it's sitting nice and flush on here. Put it on those marks and put one single straight line across each of them. You really need to make sure that's held, your side here is held right against the stock here. It's very easy, because it's only a short amount that gets held against the side, it's very easy for it to twist, but we do need a line that's exactly perpendicular to the sides going across there. All right, these lines on the back, so the back is the fatter section, so down the bottom here. We could go over to the sander now and put them up against the fence on there, make sure it's set at 90 degrees, and sand them down exactly to that line, because these get butted together and we put a little block in there. Oops, let's go this way. These get butted together and we put a little block on there to strengthen that joint. So they just need to be sanded down to that line. The two on this end, however, need to be slightly different. Because our heel goes out, looking at the back of our heel, it goes out on a bit of an angle, and then we've notched in there, we need to put that angle on this. So easiest way to do that, you got to remember 6mm and 12mm. So all I do, if you can come down and zoom in on these lines here, up at the top, holding these together the way they're going to go, just write 12 and 12, and then down underneath those, I'll zoom around this way, underneath them on the bottom you write 6 and 6. Okay. The reason I do them and hold them at the same time is so that you get the 12s opposite each other up the top. You don't want a 6 and a 12 and then a 12 and a 6. It's going to look all wrong. What those numbers mean is from that line that we've just drawn on there, you need to come over an extra 12mm at the top and put a little mark. Come over 6mm at the bottom, put a mark, and then line them up. I'll show you just on this one. So we come over 12mm, which is there. Put our mark there, it's 12, and 6 down the bottom. I can't even see it on that one. Let's go there. Oops. There's 6. And then using just your ruler, we rule our line between those 2 marks so that we end up with that. Then you can scribble all of that out. We need to then sand this one right down to that angled line. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll very, very quickly do this one, making sure it's the right way. So this one is going to be 12 on the top. It's such a hard ruler to read. I can read the 1mm increments, but the 1/2 mil increments are getting a bit beyond my eyesight at the moment. I'm getting old, promise. So we've got 12 at the top, 6 at the bottom. Use our ruler, line it up between those 2. That's about right. Put our line down, and then you can scribble off that. What you can do to check, to make sure you've got your measurements right, you sit them together and you look at your lines. Put your 2 original lines touching each other, and you can see that my 2 6mm lines are coming from the same point, so I know I've got those right. If I come over this side, my 2 12mm lines are coming from the same point, so I know I've got those ones right as well. All we need to do now is sand them down to the line on the sander. Just make 1 point with your sanding. Excuse me. If this was my disc on my sander here, and I had to push it against the sander here, please make sure that the bottom of your piece of timber is flat against the table. Don't let it exaggerate it, but don't let it come up like that. What tends to happen is the sander will grab it and it'll whack it down there, and you'll end up with splits running down the back of your work. So rest your timber flat down on the table and then slowly feed it in. But you need to leave that line. It must be perfectly flat, but leave your line. So go right up against your line and leave your line there.